So we're going to review our fiscal year, and we're going to show it through a video.
This fiscal year was all about community and partnerships. More than ever, the Westchester Square community came together to continue the fight against COVID and keep our businesses afloat. Hence our slogan for our 2021 calendar, "We are in this together." We continued food drives with our amazing partners, Harvest Fields and Family of Christ Ministries. We also held a back-to-school event where over 150 book bags filled with supplies were distributed. The annual Thanksgiving event looked different this year, but we were able to give out 600 meals in to-go boxes. As the city continued with restrictions on gatherings and event permits, many events were canceled, but we at Westchester Square had to bring some type of normalcy for the kids who were mostly attending school remotely. Plush 101 Lounge was generous enough to lend us their outdoor dining space to host our Halloween event with social distancing measures in place. We had a safe and successful event. For Small Business Saturday, with the help of Fidelis, we were able to give out vouchers at our local supermarket where we paid for their Thanksgiving groceries. We also surprised local shoppers in the district by paying for their food and merchandise purchases through our Westchester Square e-card.
I wanted to say first of all, happy birthday. Thank you for celebrating here at Westchester Square. And each of you are going to get $25 each to spend on anything you want in this store. Okay? Thank you. Okay. I'm serious.
We're serious.
This is your gift card. This is basically what we're going to be purchasing it with. And this is a bag of our calendar. And thank you for supporting Vincent. And I hope you will come back. Oh my God.
We were able to host our annual Christmas event where Santa himself took a COVID test, and we were able to distribute hundreds of toys to the local community. We partnered with the Jewish Center to light up the menorah at Owen Dolan Park. The Easter Bunny visited the square and made a special surprise visit to our local Westchester Square library. In partnership with the Bronx Borough President's Office, we launched our Bronx Week in our district with a health event. This event not only brought together several providers sharing resources, but we had a mobile vaccination site as well. And we successfully ended this fiscal year with our last event, Fair at the Square, after being postponed last year due to city restrictions.
So the bid would not be anything. The accolades, the sweat equity, the hard work really belongs to this young lady and this gentleman over here. This would not be without their tireless effort. Thank you.
Pick what you want. You want some music? I said, do you want to hear some music?
Right down the block here. My office is here, okay? And I'll always be there for Westchester Square and the people here, okay? So. See, it's simple. If you love New York City,
shop local, support our local merchants. I believe in this borough, I believe in our city, and I believe in what the bid is doing for Westchester Square.
We had several of our merchants highlighted in the media, such as Soul Snacks, Jalore Wash and Fold, and Metro Optics. The safety of our district was a great priority, and we continued installing new cameras throughout the district. Our security team continues surveying the area on a day-to-day basis. We were able to meet the new commanding officer, Captain Soberan, of the 45th Precinct, as well as have a walkthrough with Chief Tidman. This fiscal year brought a lot of snow, but our cleaning crew was there to assist in cleanup. Our sanitation team continues keeping our streets clean, including our monthly graffiti removal. We also have beautification efforts such as new plantings and mulch in our tree pits. With our amazing partnerships, we were able to continue our mass giveaways, offer free tax services, free tickets to the botanical gardens, give micro grants to some of our merchants from the Bronx Foundation, provide COVID testing with New York City laboratories, offer webinars with the Bronx Coalition, hold vaccination sites at Harvest Fields, partake in the Small Business 5-Borough Initiative with all New York City bids, as well as the 5-Borough Initiative for the Small Business Wonder Woman campaign. We distributed over 5,000 merchant calendars, distributed merchant e-cards, launched our commercial at the movie night event at Orchard Beach. We ran commercials on News 12, and we continue highlighting businesses in our newsletters. Even with everything going on, we had new openings in the district, including the grand reopening of Dunkin' Donuts, Cricket Wireless, Husam Distributors, Allstate Insurance, Neat Dry Cleaning, RNA Pharmacy, and Total Wireless. As we look ahead to 2022, we are looking forward to updating our street banners, continuing our community events, highlighting our merchants by creating merchant profiles and highlighting them on social media platforms. We thank all our community partners who, without them, many of our goals and objectives would not have been possible, and hope to continue a working relationship with them in this new fiscal year.
Thank you. So I definitely want to reiterate that it has been about partnerships and the community. We've come together through these times, and there's several other organizations that I have yet to mention that we have just developed relationships with. And I'm hoping that we can all come together this coming fiscal year as well to continue achieving and supporting our local businesses. I pass it over to you, John, so you can introduce our keynote speaker. Mute, unmute, unmute.
So I am humbled to present our keynote speaker. It gives me great honor and privilege to be able to introduce the former Chief of Police, Terrence Monahan, who I don't know, especially in this day and age and what's been going on, I think that what we're going to hear from him is going to be extremely enlightening, and I welcome you here, Chief, and thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you, John. As I hear you talking before, you grew up in the neighborhood, so did I. This is my neighborhood. This is where I grew up. I was down the road on Fremont, born and raised in Parkchester, went to St. Raymond's Grammar School, St. Raymond's High School, and spent a lot of time down in the Westchester Square area. I saw Paul's police store, as you put that up there, and I became a cop. That's where I got all my equipment. Paulie Martinez, me and him went to high school together. So I have a big tie into this neighborhood, and for me, it's important that we make sure that the businesses here and everything continue to grow and it gets better, gets back to where we were pre-pandemic. I took over a new role, left the police department March 29th, started this role. My job is to work with the businesses around the city, do what they need to do to try and get back into pre-pandemic levels, and to do it through public safety. My role is to get the city agencies that have some sort of involvement in public safety doing what they need to do in the communities that we serve. Yasmin can tell you, we do meetings. I now have broken up. The Bronx has its own separate meeting with the bids from the Bronx and every agency that has anything to do with public safety. And we bring up whatever the discussions are, whatever the issues are, and someone's got to take hold of it. Someone has to start working on what those problems are. I ran ComStat for the last 3.5 years, and I was there from the beginning with Jack Maples and Louis Anamone when we did it. And that's how I'm holding the agencies accountable. Give us your issues, someone's going to work on it. I can't say we're going to solve every issue. Obviously, a lot of these issues have been waited for before pre-pandemic. There are policy issues that we have to work around. You know, we can't change the policy, but we can sure as hell make sure that people are out there doing stuff to make the neighborhoods a lot safer. Speaking with, I know with Yasmin, she talks about the school issue coming up. Obviously, you had a year without Lehman open. It's going to be opened up again in September. That was always an issue. I was in the Bronx as the XO there for 14 years. So I know these issues real well. Spoke to Chief Timothy, who's on our calls. Chief Timothy is the executive officer in Trowborough, Bronx, and he's assured Yasmin that there's going to be resources out there. Once school's open, to take care of the issues that come along with the increased amount of kids that are running in that neighborhood. Now, you talk about the police coverage going down, so you got to take into account last year between the protests throughout the city, the defund the police movement, which took 1,200 police officers off of our account. So we've lost our head count down by 1,200. We had a lot of retirements over the course of the last year. I believe it was around 5,400 officers retired. 2 classes had been canceled because of the pandemic. So no new police officers had gone into the academy until October. That's the bad news. The better news is we graduated a class from the police academy last month of 800. That was our first class in over a year. There is another class coming out, I believe, in another week or so of around 450. Another class coming out in August of 350. Another class coming out in October of around 500. And we are in the process of putting a class in July. I believe the number they're trying to hit is 800 for this July class. So we're starting to get reinforcements to come back out into the commands to get us back up to the head count that we should be at. Again, the head count now is, I think, 35,000 and change. We had 5,400 retirements. So we really did take a dramatic drop in resources, but they're coming back. When it comes to the retirements from the police department, I think we've sort of crescendoed here. I don't think you're going to keep seeing that same amount of people leaving, because if you know cops, if you know how it works, overtime makes a difference in your last year. Last June was probably the most overtime any police officer ever got in a single month. Every cop throughout this agency was working almost every day during the course of the disturbances. If they didn't retire by the end of May, that overtime is not accounted into their pensions. So most people that have a thinking of leaving, they left. If they haven't left now, they're going to be staying on the job for a while. So we should see our numbers going up a lot faster. You talked about the motorcycles and that is, it's not just here in Westchester Square, citywide, major issue. Obviously, when you see them racing down the streets, we don't want our cops chasing them while they're in there, while they're doing that, because someone's gonna get hit, someone's gonna get run over, someone's gonna get killed. What we're doing is looking for these bikes. One, we want to know where they're being stored. The ATVs, completely illegal in New York, the dirt bikes. We're looking for locations where they're stored so we can seize them. We're looking for the gas stations that they're gassing up so we can grab them when they're stopped. Once we grab these bikes, we're destroying them. And I know Chief Harrison, who's now the chief of the department, has done a couple of press conferences standing there as we're destroying the bikes. And that's the only way we're really gonna get what we need done. We also have Crime Stoppers has now been offering a $100 reward for any information that leads to the seizure of a bike. So that if you've got information, I think we've given this out already to all the bids. Information, get it out to your community. If you know where these bikes are being stored, if you know areas where they're being gassed up that we can seize them, you can get $100 per ATV or dirt bike that we end up seizing based on your information. What I'm doing now, and again, with every city agency, because they all have to do what they need to do. You're talking about a homeless problem. Shane Cox, who works for DHS, he has been extremely helpful in getting his personnel out to locations, to specific individuals, anything that may be an encampment. They are getting out there as quickly as they can. So just through Yasmin, we have a email chain with all city agencies that if you have specific problems, a specific location, get it to her, she gets it to my office, and we will send teams out there to take care of the problem the best we can. I can't say we're gonna solve every issue. You know, homelessness is an issue throughout this city, but we have to keep on going towards them. We have to keep on making sure that we are offering them the services that they need. We also have DOHMH, and this is an agency I've been pushing hard to get out there to deal with those that are in mental crisis. Again, individuals that are out on your streets, we can send out heat teams to go and deal with them, get them into the services that they need. Homeless services, again, they'll go out with nurses to see if talk to an individual out there, see if that person needs to be hospitalized, and they can make that determination right on the scene that this individual needs to be hospitalized, or call the police and get them into a hospital. These are the services we have. We got to utilize them, and I got to keep pushing them to make sure that we are getting that sort of response that we need, because the only way this city gets better is if business recovers. If business can get stronger and will get stronger throughout the city, that's how we come out of this pandemic bigger and stronger than ever. I don't know if Brendan Timoney, he's the XO, he's been doing a lot of walkthroughs with the bids. I don't know if Yasmin, if you've set up a time to do it with him, but he can walk through on some of the specifics, John, that you were talking about, that we can have him walk through, and let's see what we need to do. Let's resolve it. I don't want to just, I hear the frustration. We all know how good this city was just 2 years ago. And what's happened over the course of the last year, violence obviously has picked up dramatically in the city. We are not back to the 90s by any means, but with shootings and homicides, we're hitting numbers that we hadn't seen since 2010. We need to get it back to where we were 2 years ago, a city of under 800 shootings, under 300 homicides. That's a goal that we have to get to. There are various issues, legislative, that need to be addressed. The one thing that I can say is there seems to be a bit of a turn in state legislation right now, where there were a lot of bills that were presented up to the state. Police reform, which could have taken a lot more tools away from us, like facial recognition, That Police Accountability Act, which was extremely dangerous, the way it was worded. All these bills were not passed, and they died in the legislation session this year upstate. That's a good thing. It took a year, but the Supreme Court ruled on the diaphragm bill that we had all said was unconstitutional from day one, that had police a bit worried. That bill was struck down as exactly like we said. It was unconstitutional the way in which it was worded. The chokehold portion of it was fine, but the idea of wrestling with an individual and accidentally putting your knee on his back in the course of a fight, that would criminalize police. That was something that we had all said was wrong, and a judge agreed with us, and that has been struck from the law books. And again, as I said that last year, I didn't think any DA in the city would ever look at a case and prosecute it, and none did. So that is, again, it's a good thing. So there is hope that the tide is turning, that we can come and have reasonable conversations, that we can do the changes that we need to reform police and also to keep our community safe. So I'm here. Yasmin has my email. They've got my phone numbers. Specific issues, if it's not being addressed by any of your city agencies, let me know. And that's my job. I will push them to get out there and be responsive to the issues that you have. So again, thank you for having me here today. Any questions? I'm available if you want to ask.
Thank you, sir. This is Anderson Ortiz from the Comptroller's Office. In regards to the motorcycles and the ATVs, et cetera, if the location that they report, for example, is like a storage, it's inside a garage, it's inside a property, how does that go? Would the NYPD be able to get a warrant to go into the property? Would it be deemed as not possible for a search to be conducted, et cetera?
Each location, again, whose property it is, we would have our legal division. We would contact them. Once we get the information, we would contact our legal division and see exactly what steps we need to do, whether or not we need a warrant based on it. Is it open? Can we see it? Or do we have to, if it's a enclosed location, do we have to sit there till they start bringing them out? And at that point, once we see something, freeze it up. So each situation would be different. But if we can get this information to us, we could start to work on those locations to see what we can do to seize these bikes, because they've been terrorizing the neighborhoods.
Got it. Here in our office, and when we go to the different council meetings, we often get that question of, we got pictures and videos of them coming out of the location, but it's just a gated community, not a gated community, a gated garage, etc. And we actually don't know where that ends up at sometimes.
All right, this is something directly to whatever precinct or precinct that you're dealing with. If you get them this information, they got to follow up with you. They should be following up with you to see what they can and can't do. Obviously, we got to make sure that everything we do, we can't just barge into a lot of places. So we got to make sure we're working within the legal framework. But we have a lot of tricks that we can do to make sure that we get it. But it's so important that and this is what I'm so big on, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, is accountability. We got to tell you what we do. Too often a city agency does something and we never tell you what we did. And then the general consensus is that the cops did nothing or the agency did nothing. So if you have any specific locations like that, you're not getting the feedback that you need from the precincts, you can reach out to my office and we will get you the information.
Got it. Thank you.
You got it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. It was an honor having you here today.
Thank you, John. Look forward to working with you. Yasmin, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Same here. We are actually going to go into our awards presentation to recognize those individuals that have been assisting us.
2021 Merchant of the Year Award, where we recognize and celebrate unstoppable entrepreneurs who redefine our community, goes to Carlos Severino of Plush 101 Lounge. Carlos has helped host different events for their community during the pandemic. We were able to help our community experience Halloween and Christmas in a different way this year, but it would not have been possible without the support from Carlos and his business Plush 101. Thank you for your continued support.
I would like to thank the BID, Yasmin and her team for this amazing award we're about to receive for 53 Westchester Square, Plush 101, as you can see in the back. It was a dream that they allowed us to bring to the square, and we have brung it. We have made a craft out of it. We have made a brand out of it. We have made a family out of it. We're all patriots. And we will continue to be successful for those who come for the first time, for those who have been here coming for over 10 years, with our food, our customer service, our beverages, and entertainment. So once again, I would like to thank you guys for the love and support and for this amazing award that my team is receiving. And we will continue to be successful for everyone that comes through those doors. Thank you.
Our 2021 Community Champion Award goes to Officer Hannah Rivera of the 45th Precinct. We recognize exemplary leadership in facilitating partnerships with public, private, and social sector leaders and working together with them as partners. Officer Rivera has been with the NYPD for 13 years and 11 years at the 45th Precinct, in which she has been the community officer for the past 7 years. Officer Hannah Rivera has shown leadership in more ways than one. Her very presence shows that of kindness and dedication. She is committed to this community and has always made herself available, even on days off, to keep our community and district safe. Thank you, Officer Rivera.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I am Officer Rivera with the 45th Precinct Community Affairs. I want to thank the Westchester Square Business District for recognizing me and choosing me for this award. It is truly an honor to receive it. I have worked for the NYPD for the last 13 years, 11 of which has been here at the 45th Precinct, and for the last 7 years, I've worked in the community affairs capacity. In this capacity, I've been able to meet so many great people and do so many great things within the community over the years. Some of the things that we've done is drives, toy drives, food drives, giveaways, fundraisers. We've given away hundreds, almost thousands of book bags at back to school events. We've done parades and community events, National Night Out. We've been able to do so much here at the 45th Precinct with the community and develop such great partnerships with everyone. Over the years, these partnerships have turned into friendships for me, and I am truly honored and blessed to be able to do something that I love so much, that I'm so passionate about, and I will continue for the years to come to do so many great things within this community because I truly love it and enjoy it. Once again, thank you so much for recognizing me and honoring me for this award. Have a great day, everyone.
Our 2021 Community Partnership of the Year goes to Desmond and Derek Lewis of the Bronx Foundation. We recognize outstanding contributions made to our district and the community at large. During the pandemic, while many businesses and people of our community were struggling, the Bronx Foundation gave out grants and gift cards that in turn helped our businesses stay afloat and the people within our community. Thank you for your contributions to our district.
My name is Desmond Lewis, and I'm co-founder of the Bronx Community Foundation.
And I'm Derek Lewis, also co-founder of the Bronx Community Foundation. We want to thank the Westchester Square BID for this extremely gracious partnership award. We have all seen over the last 12 months how resilient our community is, and how strong partnerships need to be in order to really build opportunities, but also provide the necessary resources that our residents and our families and our community need. We've been extremely grateful for the partnership that we've had with the Westchester Square BID, particularly Yasmin, Sasha, who have been extremely strong partners of the Bronx Community Foundation over the last 12 months, as we've strived to work with partners across the borough, as well as our small businesses, to support the needs during the COVID-19 pandemic. What we realize is that our small businesses, and we've known this for some time, but what COVID showed us is our small businesses are really the lifeblood of the community. And without organizations like the Westchester Square BID, we wouldn't be able to serve our small businesses in the way that they really need to be served. And so we are really grateful for this award. We thank Sasha, Yasmin, and the entire Westchester Square BID team for your support, and we look forward to continuing to build our strong partnership in the future. Thank you very much.
The 2021 Community Service Award goes to Eldon Vasquez of Harvest Fields, where we recognize community leaders who strive to make the world a better place with significant contributions to our community through their time, actions, talents, and dedication. Eldon has shown us a great amount of support when it comes to being present for the community in a time of much need. Eldon and the Harvest Field Church have provided time, resources, food, and positivity in a time such as this. Thank you, Eldon, for striving to make the world a better place and contribute to our community.
Hello. First, I'd like to thank the BID for considering me for this award. I'd also like to thank Jasmine and her staff for all her support with our events. Working for Harvest Fields Community Church has afforded me the opportunity to serve and impact our community in collaboration with all of you. As a Bronxite, this is a tremendous honor. Although last year was filled with unprecedented challenges for all of us, it gave us the unique opportunity to reimagine and reinvent how we serve our community. We locked arms and in spirit of compassion and collaboration, and together we toed the line to alleviate devastation for our community. The road ahead is filled with great opportunity to continue the work of improving the quality of life for our neighbors, and we are truly up for the task. I am appreciative of this moment of recognition for our efforts, and I am happy to continue this work with the BID in the future.
The 2021 Leadership Award goes to Gary Shepard, where we acknowledge and celebrate exemplary leadership that has a significant and positive impact on our community. Gary has been mindful of the district and the struggle that has occurred throughout the pandemic. Anything we needed, Gary was ready to save the day and be the man who talks the talk and walks the walk. Thank you for being a leader and a positive impact, not just in our lives, but on the community as a whole.
Thank you for this honor. I accept this award on behalf of the passionate people that have put in a lot of sweat equity and endless hours in making the Westchester Square BID a success. That includes the mayor's office, the borough president's office, Councilman Mark Jonai and Assemblyman Michael Benedetto, and of course, everyone on this call. Our board, led by John Benizio and Yasmin Cruz, deserve most of the accolades. Many of you here today serve on boards that make a difference. I believe with all my heart that we, the merchants, property owners, and employees have improved the lives of those that work, shop, and live in and around Westchester Square. On behalf of this team, thank you for this honor. Westchester Square is back and stronger than ever, so I'd like to take this opportunity to announce the opening of our 4th brokerage office and first in the Bronx at 16 Westchester Square. With almost 4 decades of experience finding businesses the best locations with the best terms, we are perfectly positioned to help this community thrive even further. My residential agents have the knowledge and ability to ensure smooth transactions for both buyers and sellers. Our team is here to help. We're growing just like Westchester Square. Thank you again for this honor, and if I can be of service to anyone, please reach out to me with any question, large or small, at gary@shepardhale.com. #Let's bring the Bronx back. Better than ever. Thank you again.
Our 2021 Legacy Award goes to John Benizio of Metro Optics, in recognition of a long-standing commitment and contributions to the Westchester Square community. John Benizio has spent years contributing to the community. If there is anyone who loves our district and is willing to do whatever possible to see it succeed, it would be none other than John. Your love and passion for this community is seen through your action and determination in making this a better place.
I'm very honored to be this year's Legacy Award recipient. Although I do not usually accept awards, unless they are special awards, certainly in the case of Westchester Square, it's special to me. It's near to my heart. I was born here, 5 blocks away from where my office is. Funny thing about it is I'll probably die 5 blocks away from where I was born. But in the meantime, I always felt that it's my solemn vow to protect this community as best I can. Doing that through the Business Improvement District of Westchester Square has been a really great opportunity. I'm going to go forward with that for as long as I can. And although I was going to step down this year and let someone else step up to take the reins, I look at what's happening here and what the city is doing to this community that we built up, and I just can't step aside now. So I'm here to fight, and I hope you'll fight with me. We move on.
Please, a virtual applause for those that can unmute themselves, because these are individuals that have impacted us, not only this fiscal year, obviously other fiscal years as well, but we want to recognize them. And thank you again, everyone here present. We're going into present the slate. Just share that with you. Okay, John?
John, for clarification, John Casada, who is he an alternate for?
He's an alternate to the board, not an alternate for anyone, but a board member in waiting, so to speak. So we are.
No, it can't be. The alternate has to be tied to a specific person.
No, we're not tying him to a specific person. We have someone on. I know, Michael, that you're always so careful about everything. Mr. Casada is someone who we're going to present to the board at the meeting following, at the board meeting following this annual meeting to as an alternate. So we have someone who is on the board currently, who is suffering from cancer and is probably not going to be here much longer.
Okay, so then John Casada is the alternate for that person, you're saying?
It's Jose Casada, okay?
Jose,
And
I apologize.
it's okay. And yes, Mr. Casada will be the alternate for that person
Okay,
at the time that it becomes necessary. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Michael.
okay.
Does that answer your question?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Does he have to be an alternate for a specific person? Because I would say of the
Yes.
five other board, Michael, let me finish, Mike. You know, you jump in now, and I appreciate you doing it at this time, rather than, 5 years later and looking back. But all of the boards I serve on have a certain number of members on a board, and they quite often have alternates that step in. They sit in on meetings in case there is not a quorum. They then step in to ensure that there is a quorum. So I really don't understand why someone has to be tied to a specific member. I've read all the documents. I don't see any of that in any document.
All of everything we looked at for New York State nonprofit law, alternate every board member has the right to name an alternate. But that alternate has to be named. It can be an alternate at large, so to speak.
So then he's an alternate at large.
he can't be. That's what I'm saying. He has to be a specific person has to name him. In this case, it's the person John was referring to, who may need to may not be able to attend every meeting.
But I'm sorry, Michael, I do understand that if he is an alternate, he's a stakeholder or a merchant within the district. I really question that. As long as he is a stakeholder or a merchant within the district, you can have somebody as an alternate to the board. I serve on New York nonprofits. You're quoting laws I don't know of.
Okay, so the chair wants to ask a question here. Okay, so Michael, do you have a recommendation regarding this? We are preparing for the future here. Is there a recommendation you're making at this time?
Jose Quesada, he should be the alternate, as you indicated, for that person who may not be able to attend every meeting. So
right, and that's exactly what was intended here. Okay. So
that's all. I just want to clarify, who is he the alternate for? I'm not saying you can't have alternates, you absolutely can, but I just want to make sure that.
Okay, he's going to be, at this point, he'll be a non-vote. We're presenting him to the membership today because it's the annual meeting. He is not a voting member of the board at this point. The voting member will be the 7 people that are listed above his name. Okay, and in the event that we need to have an additional step in, so to speak, which we will go through the procedures in the bylaws when that time comes. Okay, Mr. Quesada would be the person that would be presented for that alternate fill-in.
For those of you who don't know me, I've been in the square for over 36 years. And we own the building where I have my law practice, and I've been practicing out of this building for 32 years. So I've seen the Westchester Square when it was down and out, and I've seen all the great work that's been done in the last, I would say, 20 years. And I would be proud to be part of it if it comes to that.
Thank you, Jose. Appreciate that. And thank you, Michael, for questioning process and always keeping us in line. Appreciate that, Mike, very much. Okay, so let's move on. This is the slate. You know what I hate about these virtual meetings? What's that?
No, I know what you're going to say. You can't.
What am I going to say? Well, what I'm going to say is that at previous meetings, we had a whole bunch of people in a room and everybody had colored cards. And when it was time to vote, everybody raised their cards. And it was just a great camaraderie. And it's a great way to do things. And I can't stand Zoom. So I'll just say that there's good things and bad things about it. But so this is the slate as presented by the board of directors for the upcoming fiscal year starting July 1st. I won't go through the whole thing because it's right there on the screen for everybody to see. We do have another change, which is the Class B merchant. Milagros Lopez from Pink Princess will be taking the place of Greg Perry, who is going to be stepping down. Other than that, we have the same board members that we've had before, all of whom will be hanging out after this annual meeting for the fourth quarter meeting. So at this time, Yasmin, I'll turn it over to you so that you can conduct the non-vote.
Okay, so anyone who's opposed, I would just have to hear you. And if you accept, you can either raise your hand in terms of the emoji you can use. But again, we're basically going to go by oppositions. We're going to go to Class A property owner. As you can see, the names listed. For those on the phone, I'm just going to have to state it. John Bonizio for 25 Westchester Square. Joe Kelleher for 2510 Westchester Avenue. Gary Shepard for 16 Westchester Square. Rick Maglieri for 2712 East Tremont Avenue. Joanna Simone for 63-68 Westchester Square. Michael Pisacano for 2590 Frisbee Avenue. Vincent Anzalone for 2550-58 East Tremont Avenue. And Jose Quesada for 1424 Williamsbridge Road. Anyone?
Do we have any opposition to that slate? Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing no nominations from the floor and no opposition to this slate, all in favor? Give it a little wave, folks.
Okay. Thank you, Greg, for putting your hand up virtually. Okay.
Next one up is the Class B merchant Milagros Lopez of Pink Princess. Are there any nominations from the floor from merchants, Class B merchants? Hearing no nominations from the floor, I would ask if there is any opposition to Ms. Lopez serving as the Class B merchant on the board. Hearing no opposition, we pass Milagros Lopez as the new Class B merchant. Congratulations, Milagros.
Congratulations.
Our Class C tenant is Francine Marino. She has been on the board now for 3 years, I believe. And are there any nominations from the floor from Class C tenants, residents? Hearing no nominations from the floor, are there any opposition to Francine continuing in that role? Hearing no opposition, we pass Francine Marino as the tenant representative, Class C representative.
Great.
Okay, as far as the Class D members, we don't have to vote on them. Lucky for them, okay? So at this point, I'll turn it back over to, congratulations to everybody, and we'll turn it back over to Yasmin for the, or to Rick for the financial presentation.
We're presenting the financials. Again, after this meeting, the board will stay on to vote on the budget. This is our profit and loss, our net income. Sorry. Our net income is $83,151.64. Keep it up there just in case there are any questions in regards to our profit and loss. You can see there that we have the Bronx Foundation grant that came out at $50,000, which was also already dispersed. We do have the city council discretionary funding that came in for $20,000 within the last 2 weeks. And we have the NDGI grant income that came out at $40,000, which we will start invoicing as of today. Still making a total grant income of $110,000 in addition to our $425,920 assessment. No questions? Okay. Just trying to minimize it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm so sorry. I'm just going to go through the FY.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For this FY22 budget, we have the same assessment of $425,920. Our maintenance contract, which is $120,000. Our other maintenance, $5,200. Our security program, $57,000. Rent, utilities, and office supplies, $37,000. Insurance at $3,500. Marketing and programming at $30,000. Accounting and legal at $5,125. Payroll with fringe benefits at $159,000, and miscellaneous at $9,095, equaling up to our assessment of $425,920. Does anyone have any questions? As I see none, I will exit and we will go into our assessment public hearing.
Okay, so in addition to our usual process during the annual meeting, this year we're also presenting based on the recommendation of a committee of the board to edit or amend the district plan with a simple change. I want to first bring about that we worked with SBS on this and during several meetings, and largely what is presented here is something that both the committee and the Department of Small Business Services came together with to make the language of this section of the district plan something that makes more sense, given the fact that it's gotten away from A, the original intent, and B, because it was not being properly administered by the Department of Finance. Not particularly their fault, but because what's been happening is that if a building was located on a corner and therefore it had two different frontages, a long frontage and a short frontage, according to the current district plan, the long frontage would be the one for which that property had been assessed. For some properties in the district, what happened was they have a very small frontage on the main street side or the main entrance side of the building, and they were being assessed based on a long down the block kind of thing that really was not fair. So you had these small properties being assessed much larger assessments than they should have been. So we had discussions with SBS about this so that we could get it straightened out. And it was determined that the only real way to do this was to do a particular district plan amendment. So we had established, the board had authorized the establishment of a committee of the board to put together a review process for this. And as I mentioned, we worked with SBS on this. We also worked with council on this. And the simple change you can see in the Class A section there on the screen, we're adding the words, the frontage along the retail side or Main Street side of the property, and we are eliminating the words, the longer frontage. Okay, so there's an addition to recognize the front part of the property and not the longer frontage. So there's a whole process that has to go through, we have to go through as far as this is concerned. We're at the very beginning of the process there. The board has voted to create the committee, which we did. And the committee has met several times to discuss this. The committee was empowered to lead the process reviews and propose amendments, make recommendations for amended district plan amendments to the full board, which has not happened yet. The committee and the board vote are required. So we will be having a vote on this amendment, which we will then be submitting to the Department of Small Business Services for the rest of the legislative process going forward. So at this time, the reason why we included this in this meeting today is because there are people that are on this call who may have questions about this assessment wording. And before it ends up going to SBS and moving on through the process, we want to give the shareholders the opportunity to ask questions and voice complaints or voice approval for this assessment wording change. So at this time, I would like to open up the floor to any questions or any comments that anyone on this call would like to ask or make. I can't see the whole screen there. You guys see anybody raising their hand or?
No,
Nobody has any questions?
I think I received all of them prior.
Wow, did we do that good of a job? Michael, we're good, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Okay, great. So I also want to mention Roxanne Early. Early, is that the way you say it? Early, right?
Yes.
who is, she's Assistant Commissioner, Mike?
No, Executive Director.
Executive
She
Director.
runs the BID program.
She's the Executive Director of the BID program down at SBS, was very helpful with this. So I just wanted to make, and since there's no questions, I just want to say, you know, even though she's not on the call, thank you, Roxanne, and Michael, if you could pass that along. We really appreciate our input on all this. Okay, good. So at this point, unless anybody has anything that they'd like to bring up, it's not really a board meeting, it's an annual meeting. So, but I am going to ask if there's any new business that any of the stakeholders want to bring up for the board to consider going forward. No? Okay, I guess we're doing a pretty decent job. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending the annual meeting. And I'm going to ask the board of directors to please stay on the line because we have to go through the usual, the minutes, the last minutes, the financials, and the issue with the assessment wording.
Hey, John. John.
Yes, who's that?
This is Greg.
Hey, Greg.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for guiding me on this amazing journey as a representative of the Merchants Association. And Yasmin, I also want to thank you for your support and guidance on the journey, and thank all the many board members for their overall input in making this community better than what it was. Thank you once again.
Good working with you, Greg. Thank you.
You are truly welcome.
I apologize. I had joined the meeting on a laptop that was running on battery, and just as I wanted to put my input, it died.
Okay,
So,
would you like to go now, Jose?
Yes, I would. We happen to be, my wife and I own this building. We've owned it since I think 1985, and the bid is a wonderful thing, but sometimes I do have my reservations on what it's costing me tax-wise. And I happen to have a corner building and I occupy the whole building. I'm upstairs and downstairs. So the way that I'm reading this assessment, because I'm using the second floor of my own building and I happen to be on the corner, I would be hit twice with $300 assessments. Is that correct?
Yes. Are you, your second floor is used for,
Law office.
it's okay. So it's commercial use, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's on the first floor and the second floor, plus you're on a corner.
Correct.
Right. So that's an additional $600 a year. That's correct. However, your the longer side of your property, which is the side that currently should be assessed based on the longer side of the property, is now going to be just assessed based on the frontage. So I'm not exactly sure because I don't have the paperwork in front of me what your assessment is now. But if it was properly done over the last few years, and by properly, I mean based on the current district plan that's in place, your assessment should actually be going down.
That would be welcome news. But how would I determine that?
We'll have to wait until this goes through and it's all done, and then there'll be a generation of assessment monies, you know, based on the frontage, based on math, basically. Okay, and those numbers will come up.
John, this would be for next year's tax year?
Right, not this coming tax year, but the following tax year. So, so Yasmin, if you would, could you just make note that as we get through this, or as we're going through this, that we should get in touch with Mr. Casada and talk about what the old versus the new is. Okay,
Well,
so he'll have that information. Once we have it, we'll turn it over to you, Jose.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Are there any other questions or any other computers that went down that didn't allow people to ask questions? Okay, happens to me all the time. Okay, great. So who's left on, Yasmin?
Well, we're still here. I just want to thank everyone who attended, took time out of their days. I know most of us are zoomed out, but they did come through, and our honorees that were on the call. Again, thank you for all you do, the organizations that came together throughout this year and this fiscal year, and we're hoping to continue on those relationships. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, because this, what we are doing cannot be possible, first of all, with our limited staff, but it's dear to my heart because we act like we're bigger than what we are. So Sasha and Anthony, thank you so much. And again, to all the partnerships throughout the year.
Thank you.
Ditto.